Seriously, adding this into your sexual repertoire will blow her mind in ways you can't even imagine. Hi, I'm Caitlin B, and today I am thrilled to share the exquisite, the pleasure-filled, the game-changing wonders of the Yoni Massage. And I'm gonna break down the power, the magic, and the science in just a moment. Now, those of you who are familiar with this channel will know that this is the second video I've created on the subject, and that's because the first one was so damn successful for y'all that many of you actually wrote me or called to tell me how well this worked. In fact, one of the latest members of my High Performance Male membership said, yeah, I just wanted to sign up because if you could do all that, I want to know what else you could teach me how to do. So round two, picking up where we left off and adding some additional magic into our Yoni Massage videos, and you can go back and watch the first one when you're done with this one. For those of you who have never heard the term Yoni before, it is a Sanskrit word for sacred space. It can also mean womb or source. And I like to use it in this context because it covers everything that's going on between her legs in a way that is sacred. It is a spiritual word. It denotes a sacred space like a temple. Unlike the term vagina, which, little known fact, actually stems from the Latin for sheath for a sword. That's right, the word vagina literally stems from describing it in relation to a penis. It's not even its own thing, which is so remarkably f***ed up, seeing as the vagina is literally the basis of everything else. Giving your partner a Yoni massage is amazing. It takes the pressure off of orgasm. It increases the amount of physical touch and intimacy. It enhances her ability to feel everything that's going on inside of her own body, her own pleasure, her own genitals. It's different from fingering or oral sex because it is focused on the journey, not necessarily pleasure or orgasm. The only destination is connection and sensation. Now, the funny thing about taking the pressure off of orgasm is that in the long run, over the extended time horizon, it actually enables a woman to feel more pleasure with you. So yeah, orgasm more frequently, orgasm harder, orgasm with greater ease, orgasm multiple times in a row. The Yoni massage is a fabulous tool for you to use no matter what the state of your sex life looks like. I think that sounds like something worth trying, right? I mean, that is a game worth losing at, in my opinion. And although most women would love a Yoni massage, and in my opinion, we all deserve one, this practice is especially good for a few subgroups of women, like women who experience tension during sex, either from physical or psychological causes. This is a fantastic way to ease into experiencing touch without experiencing penetration, without experiencing any sort of violation or moving too quickly into the body that can so often be the result of repeated pain during sex and penetration. These massages are also great for women who are pregnant or postpartum because when done right, they help to relax and open up the vaginal canal, the perineum. They can promote healing and scar tissue remediation. They can also prevent the need for episiotomies in some cases, but as you, I hope know, I am not a doctor or healthcare professional, so if you plan on giving a Yoni massage to a woman who is pregnant, to a person who has given birth, or to someone who's experienced major sexual trauma or complex sexual trauma, it is best to work together with the help of a professional who can consult on her individual body, her individual case before moving forward. But that said, there are plenty of OBGYNs out there that have never thought about or ever learned about or ever considered a Yoni massage. This is not taught in medical school. Some doulas and midwives may have more experience with it. So yes, go to a doctor, go to a physician, but if they, dismiss the idea outright, them, go to someone who knows something about it. Yoni massage is great also for women who have a history of having their consent or their body violated. And by that, I mean pretty much all of us. And the reason for that is that if you are a safe giver of this massage, and that is rule number one, it doesn't work, there's no second, that's it. If you can't be safe, then don't do it. Turn off this video, go click the next one for me and join High Performance Male, we'll talk. This is because the whole point of this massage is touch without expectation, without pressure, without coercion, without entitlement, without male entitlement to like his orgasm or what he wants. This massage is under her control. If she says stop, it stops. If she says harder, lighter, lefter, more breathing, more presence, whatever, she is in the driver's seat. You are just a vessel through which this healing, loving touch is moving. And that alone, having a man just hold your boundaries, having a man be willing to stop the minute that you say stop, no questions asked, no coercion, no pressure, that alone is super fucking healing. It is a super rad motherfucking gift that you could give to your female partner. And I invite you to do just fucking that. And this is why it's magical for her nervous system. The more experience of safety that we have, we're able to open in new ways further than we ever thought possible. So without further ado, let's dive into my 5 more incredible tips for giving an amazing yoni massage. Tip number 1 of 5, mind your prep. This may seem obvious, but I have worked close enough with so many of y'all, I know that it bears repeating. If you are going to be rooting around in between a woman's legs, there are a few things you got to have in place first. Number 1 is your mental and emotional and energetic preparation. Do not skip this part. This is the whole house is going to be built on how you show up physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, energetically. It's on you and you've got this. Trust me. Start by setting an intention. It could be very simple, like being loving, being present, being grounded, being centered. The intention could just be focusing and listening. Don't get too complicated with it, okay? All right, know from your own setup, from preparing yourself mentally for this process, that you are not going to be getting yourself sexually satisfied. There is no orgasm, there is no ejaculation in this for you. This is not the time or the place. Go into it having already had this conversation with yourself that you might get turned on. That's okay. You're not gonna do anything about it. This is all about her. Full stop. Full stop, because if you go past that, the whole massage, like the whole purpose of it is like pretty much out, okay? You may want to make a plan and schedule some time to masturbate before, so that's already out of your system, or after the massage. That is great. Take care of you. All right, physical prep. We already know we're gonna cut the nails, we're gonna wash the hands, we're gonna scrub really, really good, because all it takes to kill the mood is a single scratch, and certainly all it takes to introduce a bunch of like bacteria and stuff into the vagina, and its very delicate like environment and microbiome, is some dirty nails and some scratchy fingers. So next up, grab some lube or some genital safe massage oil. Remember that when it comes to all things touching the vulva and vagina, friction is the enemy. And no, in this instance, you're not gonna rely on her vaginal wetness, but number 1, because this is a massage, it's not about that, but also because you should never be touching a vagina or vulva with a dry finger ever. I have to remind people in my own life of this all the time. Wet finger every time, all the time. Wet, 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 wet. If you are planning on having sex some point after the massage, aka later in the day, aka not at the end of the massage, but later, make sure that you're using a lubricant that is condom safe. If condoms are part of your practice, that's going to limit the amount of oil that you should be putting in and around the vulva and vagina. If you don't use condoms, oil is great. Again, make sure that it is an oil that her body can work with, is a body safe oil, and that she doesn't have any sort of allergic reaction. Lastly, prep. Setting the scene, okay? The atmosphere. Think about the lighting. Think about the temperature of the room. Think about the sounds. She has to be able to melt into the moment. And if it's cold, if there's a fluorescent light or some studio lighting shining down on her, she's not going to be able to fully relax and lose track of time and space. Make sure that she's comfortable, and also make sure that you are comfortable. You're not too hot or too cold, because again, you're the foundation upon which it rests. You have got to be taking care of you as well. Make sure that you're taking deep breaths. Make sure that you're not feeling rushed. Make sure that you're feeling relaxed. Take care of you so that you can take care of her. All right, number 2 out of 5, start slow and breathe. Good reminder, I could use it myself. When it comes to the yoni massage, you gotta ease into it slowly and indirectly. If you have the time, I highly suggest starting with a full body massage. That's gonna help her whole body relax, incorporate the entire body into the experience. But if that's not in the cards, at least pay a bit of attention to her legs, her pelvis, the inside of her thighs before you go onto her yoni. And as you're doing that, start syncing your breathing with hers as much as possible. breathing deeply, exhaling fully. Find her breath and you're gonna sink as much as possible. The more your nervous systems are gonna come into alignment, the more you'll start almost moving as one being. It's the same thing that happens when two people are like really beautifully doing the tango together. Now that we're breathing, starting the massage. Beginning again with long, gentle strokes outside of her yoni in between her thighs, gradually increasing pressure with each movement, grabbing a hold and anchoring her hips. Even just holding someone's hips can feel so restful and so relaxing for our nervous system. Working your hands on the outside of her legs and pelvis, and then as you are touching her, even outside of her yoni, even in all of this sort of like pre-yoni touch, communicating with her, letting her know that she can use her words to indicate to you what feels good. That there's nothing that cannot be communicated inside of this space, and let her know that you're available to adjust and change. She's really driving this experience. Now that we're warmed up, we're breathing, we've got our verbal communication set, it is time to approach the yoni, the vulva itself. Now, keep in mind that there should be absolutely no surprises during a yoni massage. Again, safety is the foundation. And so everything that you do, you're going to move slowly to allow her nervous system the time to adjust to changes in the environment. Especially if your partner experiences pain or tension with penetration, I recommend taking this bit very, very slowly. Maybe even just taking your full hand, flat palm, and resting that over her vulva, taking a few deep breaths. We as women, as a general rule, are not used to having a man just hold presence for us. That alone can be a very, 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 very sweet moment and experience for her. Again, helpful for you if you're connected to your intention as you're doing that. From there on, the key is slow, gradual, progressive movements. Which brings me to number 3 of 5, include the entire yoni. Okay, this is gonna be highly individual. I'm gonna say some things here. Your partner, the vulva that you're touching, the yoni haver, she may tell you that something else feels good. Follow her cues. I'm just gonna give you some things to start. Quick refresher on this anatomy. The vulva refers to everything on the outside, the clitoris, the inner and outer lips, the urethra, the vaginal opening, the perineum, which is between the bottom of the vaginal opening and the anus, and then of course we have the inside of the vagina itself. Now, during pleasure that's meant to lead to orgasm, we tend to put a lot of focus on the clitoris, the vagina, even the G-spot. But the yoni massage is about paying attention to all of the parts of her anatomy, all of it, seeing it as more than just a system of parts, but as an entire sacred space and environment. And just like no two backs are alike, no two yonis are exactly alike, so your job now is to try a bunch of different techniques slowly and see what works for her. You can start by circling with your thumbs or circling with your fingers, making large circles with both hands, even making circles with one hand. You can do that over her entire vulva, changing pressure and tempo and direction based on what feels good to her. You can also use pushing and pulling, again, the same as you might if you were rubbing someone's shoulders. You're going to slowly pulse along the clitoris and labia using the pads of your fingers. You can hold one finger in place while you pull slowly, gently, stretching it out and switch sides. Another technique that I discussed earlier is cupping or moving down the sides of the inside of the legs and creating pressure on the vulva at the end. Another technique that you can try is tugging or rolling. Not all people with vulvas like this in the same way. Some people don't like having their labia pulled on, but you can try this just by rolling around and gently pulling and rubbing down both sides of her labia, both inner and outer. Once you've been doing this for a length of time, that's going to depend on how much time you have, but that should really make up the initial 2/3 of the work that you're doing in between her legs. Then you can start massaging her inside. You're going to see her vaginal opening sort of like a clock, going in 1 knuckle, 1 to 2 knuckles, no more than this, and then slowly circling, moving back and forth, tapping, stopping at 12 o'clock, the 11, the 10, the 9, all the way around. You can switch hands. whatever feels best for you both, and only moving as fast as feels good for her. When you do this correctly, you will actually feel her body starting to shift and change and move right underneath your fingers, just the same way that muscles do when we bring loving touch to them. And if that feels good for her, you can take things a little bit deeper. Again, massaging sort of the inside of the vaginal canal and hooking your fingers even around to get the muscles that make up her pelvic floor. And number 5, my final tip for giving a great yoni massage is communication. Like I said, every vulva, every yoni, every person who's got that particular set of genitals has a different experience of what feels good. They have different preferences, so don't be afraid to ask questions. Keeping things as relaxing as possible for her, asking questions that she can answer in a simple yes or no, so that she doesn't have to answer an open-ended question like, what can I do next? Or what else would you like? That cause her to go back into her brain. Keeping things as really simple as possible. You can also watch my video on how to use the A/B test to make yourself into the best lover ever. We will link to that into the description. It is always a good idea to communicate around desire, around expectation, around sex. Remember that this is a massage, so if you decide in advance that sex is on the table after the massage is complete, make sure that the massage is complete. Take your hands off slowly. Maybe rest your hand on her heart. Maybe ground her. Maybe she liked when you were holding her hips earlier. Do that for at least a few minutes to bring the energy down, to help her come back from outer space, to connect and then separate from each other, at least physically. Change the environment, change the scene, change the setting, and then transition to sex. Again, only if you've agreed that that's something that you're interested before. And that's because this massage has the tendency to bring a lot of blood flow into the vulva. She might be more willing to say yes afterward than she was before. But if she said no, if when you went into the massage, the agreement was that you would not have sex afterward, then don't have sex afterward. Even if she's open to it, even if she's asking for it, your integrity is to the initial agreement that you had at the beginning of the container. And at the beginning of the container, she said no. And no's cannot become yeses. Inside of the container, yeses can become no's, not the other way around. This might sound counterintuitive, but saying no to sex that isn't agreed upon is the way to saying yes to sex that is awesome and is better than ever before. Your integrity matters so much. That is the foundation upon which this is all built. All right, that is it. My 5 additional tips for having and creating and giving an awesome yoni massage. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you want a healthier, happier, and more pleasure-filled sex life that I know you do. I'm Keelan V. Thanks for watching. I'll see you here next week. Bye-bye.